Hello, this is Jared Kidd, your hillbilly historian, coming to you from the hills of East Tennessee, part of Appalachia. Today, I want to talk about one little four-letter word: evil. E-V-I-L, evil. Does evil exist in this world? You darn right it does. Evil exists in the hearts of man. Man can sometimes do some unbelievable evil. Look what the Taliban does when they capture Christians and line them up on their knees and saw their heads off with a rusty, dull knife right there on camera. If that ain't evil, evil don't exist. I think anything having to do with Muslims, Allah, is pure evil, based on evil. Uh, you know, they're told in the Quran that they can lie to us infidels. They can say anything, and that they should go out and look under every rock and murder every Jew, murder every Christian. They can lie to us and kill us and murder us, and nothing is done. Their Sharia law is a joke. There's no right and wrong based in their legal system whatsoever. It's all about power, authority, cruelty, evil, pure evil. You know, we've had evil here in the U.S. What the Union armies did to Southerners in the so-called Civil War, I call it the War of the Federal Invasion. But that war, the Northern armies were purely evil. How many state capitals did they burn to the ground? Nashville, Jackson, Atlanta, Columbia, Richmond. How many towns did they burn to the ground? Who knows? Tens, maybe hundreds. They were really evil towards Southerners. They depopulated 5 counties in Missouri. They like to have movies and stuff that show that Quantrill or Mosby, how evil they were. Quantrill wasn't anywhere near as evil as James Lane, the Union commander stationed in Kansas. As soon as the war broke out, he began raiding Missouri, stealing everything. He even had a minister that went with him that stole everything out of churches, pews, paintings, stained glass, podiums, everything he could steal, he stole. And he depopulated 5 counties in Missouri. There's a reason the Younger Brothers and the James Brothers and these people fought even after the war was over. You know, they were done so dirty, and then the Union came in there with their railroads, stealing everybody's land and treating them terribly. Look what Sherman did to Georgia. Look what Sheridan did to Shenandoah Valley. Sheridan bragged about how if a crow flies over the Shenandoah Valley, they'll have to pack a lunch. It was evil. They'd burn everybody's houses and barns and steal all their crops and livestock and grain and hay and go in their homes and steal everything. Read the diaries of people around Gettysburg before the Battle of Gettysburg. They were more frightened of Union regiments than they were Southerners. They knew if they had a chicken running free in the front yard, a Southerner would jump in there and grab it. But the Union soldiers would march right into their homes and steal everything they owned. And they were so used to doing that to all the Southerners, they did it to their own people as well. They were evil, evil. Sheridan was evil. Sheridan led the anti-Indian, get the Indian euthanasia program that came out of D.C. in the mid and late 1800s. It was a government plan to eradicate the Indians, kill as many as possible, get the rest of them on reservations. You know, there was one point Lincoln was going to hang 460-something Indians in Minnesota. It wasn't hanging. And European representatives in D.C., their ambassadors told him, you do that, the whole world will turn against you. He still ended up hanging about 40 or 50 that day because he was an evil man. Abraham Lincoln was the world's first Pol Pot. He was purely evil. He saw to the deaths of over 1.1 or 1.2 million Americans that he swore to protect. He was an evil man. He was so evil, in fact, and his armies committed so many war crimes, he had a Lieberman guy from Germany write him a new war crimes manual that would sweep the slate clean for him. That according to his own war crimes manual, his army didn't commit any war crimes, and that's pure evil. When you commit evil and then you cover it up and hide it and try to defend yourself in the eyes of the world. And then Sheridan, after the Civil War, he served as a guest, an observer, on Bismarck's staff during the Franco-German War of 1870. And he taught the Germans how to treat the French civilians. He said, here's how we did it in the South. Here's how we treated Southern civilians, and here's how they need to be treated. So you could say that the evil that was committed by the German armies in World War I, and then especially in World War II, came directly from Phil Sheridan, that got his orders from Abraham Lincoln in Washington, D.C. In fact, I think there's a statue to Sheridan in Washington, D.C., because they consider him a great hero. But he spread pure evil around the world and may have been directly responsible for the evil committed by the Germans in 1930s and 40s. You know, he's the one that told Bismarck's staff, here's how we did it, here's how we treated the Southerners. You take everything they own. You burn their barns, you burn their houses, you take their grain, you take their livestock, you leave them to starve and die. And he said that's the way we treat them. So Phil Sheridan might have been the cause of the Holocaust. You know, the Germans during the trial of Nuremberg claimed they copied their euthanasia laws from the state of Virginia in the United States. You know, their race laws and their euthanasia laws. You know, they had a group called T4 that their purpose was to wipe out any person with a birth defect that might be a burden on the state or cause or birth even more handicapped children. The Aryans in Germany wanted a pure race, and they blamed it on the state of Virginia in the United States. So there is evil in this world. There is pure evil. And men with good hearts, good Christians, have to always, always stand up for what's right and wrong, stand up against evil, because there's people out there that want to perpetrate evil. Look at all them people that ganged up on that poor old white man there in Cincinnati recently and kicked the crap out of him. That was pure evil, out of control evil. And our schools and our ministers and our leaders, political leaders, they need to teach how to prevent evil. You know, it was evil how the government and all these lawfare practitioners went after Trump for 4 years. It was simply pure evil. They wanted to destroy the man and anybody that supported him. It was sad. It was nothing but an exhibition of evil. And regrettably, a lot of that evil came out of black people. And that's sad that people like George Soros are teaching our blacks and our Hispanics to practice evil against Christians and white people. Sad, really sad. We have to stand up and fight for evil. And this is your hillbilly historian advising you to always watch out for evil and never let it get a foothold. Stop it immediately. Stand up, say, this is it. It goes no further than this right here. It stops now and it stops here. And that is the only way you can prevent evil from taking over. And socialists and the Marxists in our deep state in D.C., they're behind evil. They want to destroy Christianity. They want to destroy the white race. They want evil to be in charge. And there's a book called The Black Book of Communism, written by 6 international journalists, about how many deaths communism, socialism caused in the 20th century alone. And they estimate over 250 million people died because of socialism and communism. So socialism and communism is a basis for pure evil. Nothing but evil from the human heart. And strong people have to stand up and say it stops here. It stops now. We're going to live by the rules of Jesus and Christianity, Judeo-Christian ethics and morals, and we're going to put a stop to evil here now. And this is your hillbilly historian coming to you from the hills of East Tennessee, part of Appalachia. You have a good day.